Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Chabala.
Mr. Chair, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all the listeners involved.
I understand that you have not made a statement or an affidavit. I have a one-pager with your name and surname at the top, with an introduction, compensation machine, the items that you would like to testify about. Now, can I just establish whether you have not made an affidavit because of pressure of time on you, or is there any other reason? Because I'll tell you why I'm asking, Tandi. It makes it easier for us to be able to structure or direct the testimony if we have either a statement or an affidavit. And Mr. Sandile July would engage you to structure one, if you do not mind that. I've seen your email of Friday, the 30th of April, and I can feel with you your disheartenment about writing about what you refer to correctly, as I understand, the past wrongdoings. But it is very important for this project, Tandi, that we give you an opportunity, as much of an opportunity, to see if through this process you will not reach a stage where you feel, having spoken about these injustices of the past, you feel some measure of healing. And I say this from the experience that you probably know of, that I have from the days that I was involved in various commissions, the Marikana Commission, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and all of those. And I can tell you now that it would be in our best interest as those who are involved in this project, if you persuaded yourself to write a statement, or for Mr. July to engage you, and we have an affidavit which you would be able to talk to. How do you feel about that?
Mr. Chair, I think it's you've highlighted that it's obviously an important procedure that needs to be followed. I just want to say that it's been obviously difficult for me to arrive at this point. Up until last night, having listened to Oma Henry's testimony and obviously Mpo as well. I therefore had to make a late adjustment to the decision that I had previously felt about the commission, that this was another case of possible window dressing this was another case where our words and our experiences of what has been robbed from us will soon vanish into thin air. So I was of the opinion that this is just a wasteful exercise, if I may put it that way.
No, I do.
And in fact, I sympathize with that position. And if I have to tell you, there is one participant whom obviously I don't want to mention in open forum, whose father phoned me and said, listen here, I don't know where your process is going to get to, but I can tell you my son doesn't have a very good experience with Cricket South Africa, and I don't think you are going to get to anywhere with that process. And I only remember saying to him, well, in as much as I can't guarantee that something will happen after this process, because he mentioned, for instance, that there was the Nicholson inquiry into cricket, and Judge Nicholson made some recommendations which have never been implemented by Cricket South Africa. And then I said, well, I have taken all of those things on board, and I'm aware of that. And in fact, it makes me, anxious, and I have sleepless nights thinking about that kind of expression of doubt as to the efficacy of this project. But I say, in as much as I can guarantee that people who are current players we will not be victimized. But I personally have taken time off my own practice, not because I was looking for this job of being an ombudsperson. And I can tell you now, the other professionals around the table here have got work that they could be doing. But it was because we believe there is a contribution that we can make, and that this is a platform we should all utilize to air our grievances about what clearly would be expressions of racial discrimination, gender discrimination in the past in this sporting code called cricket. And it would also provide those who would be affected by what we say, an opportunity to say, no, I want to correct what Ntsebeza said. I don't want to correct what Tandegi said, insofar as he got it all wrong when he made A, B, C, D allegations. So I want to plead with you to do two things. One, to accept that this is an imperfect process, but it is one that we will give our all as these lawyers around this table to make sure that A, those who come and participate are treated with dignity and are afforded as much of an opportunity to express themselves. And we anticipate that, some of the experiences will be very painful to restate, which is why it was our design that people should take time, write a submission, because in my own experiences, there's nothing as cathartic as sitting down to write even those things that were very bad experiences. Because just the process of writing, because what you write is what comes to your mind, and it comes from your mind to your hand, and you write. If you are using modern technology, you type onto your computer. By the time you get to the end, you begin to wonder how you manage to get to that end, given the pain that it always causes you to remind yourself of what happened in the past. But funnily enough, I can tell you from personal experience, at the end of it, you then say, it looks like, something that was a load on my shoulders has now been taken off. And that is even before coming to testify. So I say all of these things because I've looked at your email of the 30th of April, and I've looked at the points, talking points, that you conveyed would guide your testimony, your introduction, your compensation, machine, experiences in the Free State. And I would really plead with you that we do not rush into this thing, because it seems to me you will realize only after you have done the way that we are requesting you to do it, that you will realize it was a lifetime opportunity. Platforms like these are not created every day. And my own suggestion is that we give you time, we reschedule your hearing, and you and Mr. Sandile July will be here to assist you once you have made a submission, to craft an affidavit to which you will talk at a rescheduled time. And I have every confidence that if we approach it that way, there will be a lot that will be gained by all of us, including you, out of this process. I mean, we don't mind proceeding on what we have, on your one pager, which indicates what you are going to be talking about. But if you permit us, we would like you on exactly this one pager of yours to have a structured affidavit or a structured statement that would bring out the best that needs to come out of you, which you will share with us and the rest of the country. So that is my proposal to you, that instead of trying to do patchwork, which it will be if we are simply looking at the one pager. You take the time, you do the statement, or we can use this one pager for Mr. July to take you through, and once we have an affidavit, we'll then schedule a hearing for you in the very near future. How do you react to that?
Mr. Chair, I do respect the process that needs to be followed. Hence, I said from the beginning, this process was intentionally ignored because for 24 years, I have not seen any change whatsoever. I've seen many commissions. I've seen many injustices. I'm confronted with pain on a daily basis. Me and my colleagues, which have, some of them have stood before this panel now, some of them that are still going to stand on this panel. To my experiences, I have looked at the world differently. I have looked at the enemy that stands before me differently. I understand what institutionalized racism stands for. And based on my experiences, I therefore came to a conclusion that none of us can bring about the change that we want to see before our eyes. We are dealing with a machine that will take many years, more than 100 years, in my view. We are dealing with white people that have no remorse for their actions. So therefore, that's why I decided that it's best that I carry on with my living, with my life and the choices that I have made. But it is Paul Adams who reached out to me and he said, this is an important platform for you to be able to voice your opinions. And you have also illustrated the importance of it. It is a bigger platform than anything else that we have voiced our opinions or grievances before. So I will lay my wound before my people and open it again and follow the process that needs to be followed and come back and be able to speak, hopefully for the last time, because this has gotten to a point where one has to move around the injustices because I just don't believe that anything can change.
Yeah, well, I'm very glad that we're at least on the same page with regard to your utilizing this process in what I believe will be the best way if you do it in the manner in which I've suggested. I can't promise you that this will be a different process because I suppose everyone who is involved in a process like this always says, look, we'll recommend this. Like I said, Judge Nicholson, no less a person, was involved in a process that made certain recommendations. But we live in hope, Thandi. If we didn't have hope, as I say, the three of us around this table who have decided we must spend our time, which we don't have, and get into this project. Whilst we are optimistic, we can't give guarantees, but we will fail trying. And the best way for us to succeed will be when we have people like you who say, even if I don't believe that there is anything that is going to be achieved by this process, because there are similar processes like these that have gone on before and nothing has been gained from that.
Yes, I do understand, Mr. Chair. With all due respect, this is exactly why I don't want to sit in a commission, because we live our lives. We're going to go through our lives based on hoping for somebody to say that they're sorry when they're not. We continue as Black people, we continue in our own country to seek for justice to people who have no remorse whatsoever. White people know exactly what they're doing. White people for many years, this is a seed that's implanted in their heads that we are here to serve them. So again, who is CSA that I believe that this commission is going to probably draft a letter to CSA. Who is CSA? Isn't that the enemy that we stand before? Isn't it CSA that we have this commission here today? Who is CSA? Isn't it a group of white people who have their best intentions at heart? And at our expense. So again, we sit here hoping that a change may happen. And I say that we need to take control and become the change that we want to see. Because I don't understand who's going to change things, because we keep taking our future in our own hands and we give it to other people for them to make decisions for us. The nation today is in mourning. Today, as we speak, people are tired of being ill-treated. Yet, as black people, we want to stand and hope for change. How is it going to happen? Can somebody please tell me? Because it hasn't happened for 24 years. Our leaders today, leadership today is about status. It's not about serving people. So Pangiso spoke about the black leaders that were there to affect change. They didn't. Do we have other people in place that can make an oath to the nation, an oath to us that this will change? Or do we have people employed by those that they have to follow their rules and call themselves CSA board?
Maybe I need to let you understand what the office of the Transformation Ombudsman is, or what it has in terms of its terms of reference and the procedure that we have adopted. The board's involvement is only to the extent that they okayed or they approved the terms of reference and the rules of procedure. Operationally, and in terms of what we are going to write in our report, the board and anybody else other than those who are in the office of the Transformation Ombudsman will have no say at all. In other words, we are not going to be puppets of a board or any structure in Cricket South Africa. Because we did anticipate, and I can tell you there are some people who have made submissions who have complained about CSA itself. So I just want to disabuse your mind of a view that you must think that the office of the Transformation Ombudsman is part and parcel of CSA. Yes, we had to get a mandate from someone. So the board of Cricket South Africa had to say, we want this done, but what you find and what you recommend and what you do with what you find is something that you are independent to execute. So I just want to disabuse your mind about that we are an independent entity. We will inquire and we will say everything, even those that are not palatable to Cricket South Africa, if we get evidence that says Cricket South Africa is part of the problem, Cricket South Africa is not part of the solution. If that is something that we get from testimonies, then that is something that will make very clear. And I can tell you now, no one is going to influence the way in which the ombudsperson writes the report. And that is why, therefore, we want top-of-the-shelf kinds of submissions so that people can make the submissions in a way that will carry through what has been a burden on their shoulders. So My request is shaped more by a desire that you should have a structured submission from you on exactly the same topics that you have here. And that is why Mr. Sandile July, who is a legal officer, as a resource to me, not to the board, not to the CSA, but to me. And I've tried to indicate to you how I am an independent functionary in the execution of this mandate. So whatever else you may have had, or whatever else you may have believed, I just want you to understand exactly where we stand. In fact, if we had resources of our own, and we are, in a sense, trying to do that, we would have been operating far away from here. But in the interest of getting the job done, this is where we are. But I can only tell you about the fact that you must understand that the OTO, the Office of the Transformation Ombudsman, is an independent entity, and it is as an independent entity that you are going to deal with us, even if it means your testimony at one stage will be to say, actually, the problem is Cricket South Africa. That, I can assure you, will be understood as what you want to say it is. And if we find that there is merit in your submission in that regard, we will make sure that that is part of our report with a positive indication about what you say about Cricket South Africa, that it is a problem. In relation to the things that you say or you would have experienced in your career. So, as I said, I mean, this is an opportunity. If you want to proceed now, very much against my advice, then that's okay. We can proceed. We will try to get the best out of this one pager. But if you take my offer to sit down and write submission, or to be assisted by Mr. Sandile July to craft an affidavit which would contain these very topics which you want to highlight. There is not one topic that you have highlighted in a one-pager which is not going to be reflected in that affidavit. We just want it to be structured. That is why, as I understand, we have been following the testimony so far. The other testimonies have been assisted a great deal by them having produced the affidavits that I'm asking you to be assisted to compile, or by the statements that they have given us, because then everything was structured and people were free to speak from the heart, speaking, however, to what is contained in the affidavits. As I say, there's the offer that I'm making. And perhaps it's for you to consider it. If you accept what I say about the independence of the Office of the Transformation Ombudsman.
Mr. Chair, I will take the offer. I do believe in procedure. So therefore, in that respect, I sit here today because I seek a better world. I think we're all here because we seek that. So if the process is one step towards justification or towards justice, then so be it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chabalala. In the event, I think, Mhlekazi, when are you able to make contact with Mr. Chabalala? Or
even today, somebody.
okay. What we are going to be doing, we will adjourn these proceedings now, Thandi, and just for you and Advocate Ngele, Mr. Sandile July, to be able to say when I think it will probably be in the following week, you would be scheduled to come and speak from the heart based on the, on the documentation that will have been prepared by you and Mr. July. So we will adjourn now. Advocate Ngele will be in touch with you, or Mr. Sandile July, or both of them, just to arrange the process. When do we have the affidavit ready and what have you? And then we'll tell you a day we will schedule you to come and testify. And you will speak from the heart. How is that for an arrangement?
Sounds good, Mr. Chair. Sounds good. Yeah, we'll wait on what needs to be done, and
Okay.
I can speak from my heart because it is the heart that has taken the most pounding from the process.
Yes.
So we'll speak from it. Yeah.
Thanks, Thandi.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So we will adjourn for today, and Advocate Ngele is going to contact you just immediately after our adjournment on the telephone, and Mr. Sandile July will do likewise. And then until we meet next week, please be safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, which I don't see you wearing, but you are probably in a very safe environment there. And yeah, okay, thanks, Tanti. Right, we're adjourned.